day 2 of Star Camp. This is me. I'm heading into the city on this day. I'm excited because it's a songwriting session, and you know I love me some songwriting, okay? Yes. Say hi. Say hi. Some Star Camp members. Wee. Yeah, she better sing. So we are just waiting for class to start and just trickling in, a lot of us. There are about, 17 people in Star Camp? Say hi! Say hi to my vlog, yes! The mogul herself, Akela.
It comes from somewhere that we'll never understand. I feel like it's definitely bigger than us, because what is it? It's the urge to communicate, right? It's the urge to share. And, you know, we come from a society, a world that really pushes the opposite, right? It pushes for you to keep everything to yourself, right? It's nobody else's business. It's your journey, you know. And I think the beauty of not just writing the song, but the song, right? And we've talked about this before, those of us who have worked on songwriting together, is songs, when you write a song, I think, when you write a song effectively and efficiently, you are giving people thoughts. You are filling voids for people where there is nothing, where they don't know what to say. They don't know how to describe what they feel until they hear you say it. So today we are going to talk about a songwriting concept or foundation or technique, if you will, that is called nuance.
This was an interesting class for me because I can be a little bit too nuanced at times, but that actually turned out not to be my problem today, so.
Experience, like, what were the hard things?
Now, y'all can't see my face because it's behind the camera, but I was just getting this clip as just B-roll because at this point, baby, I was ready to go home. So we gonna switch to other cameras now. All right. So by this point, like, a lot of people had given their feedback, and I had just, you see my phone, it's in my lap. I was just ready to take my water bottle and go home. But then I decided to share how difficult it was for me too. And of course, Akela already knew.
You didn't speak, I was going to address it anyway. Do you know what that is? What do y'all think? What's y'all working with y'all?
Backstory. I U-pended my life and moved to become a songwriter, to be a songwriter. I didn't move to be in artist development. I didn't move to be a singer, none of that. I moved because I had all these words flowing through me and melodies, and then it was what was fulfilling me at the time. And I was just writing songs and, you know, exploring my voice, and I started doing like little covers on my music channel. So long story short, I moved to where I live now to start songwriting and like just start. I didn't know what the freak to do. Like, I just had this feeling that I needed to move and I needed to go after this, and that I wanted to. Like, it was the first time I've ever like wanted something for myself in my life. And I was like, bruh, after this, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna make a way, I'm gonna figure it out. So everything aligned, fell into place, boom, 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 tick-tack, ticky-tack-tack. And I ended up where I currently live, which is so close to the city. And when I got that job, I was like, okay, well, I'm moving back to the East Coast. I'm going to figure out how to build a career as a songwriter while working in my day job, my side job. Songwriting is like, that's like my comfort zone. And that's what I know, like, I can do it. I can do it if I put the hours in, if I study the craft, if I practice. I wrote a song a day, or at least a verse and a hook, for about 100 days back in Ohio. Like, I think that when I want something, like, I figure out how to get it, and I don't I figure out how to get it. I figure out what workshops I need to attend, what conferences. I was going to conferences for songwriting, like, before I moved from Ohio, and like attending workshops. And so songwriting is like my comfort zone, and I know I'm good at it. I know I can do it. I know I have room to grow, but it's one of those things, like, I'm learning my voice. I'm learning where I am in my voice and getting more comfortable with my voice. All great, good, cool. Performance, all this extra stuff is cool. It's fun. But songwriting, I feel like, is what I was like made, like born to do. And so I'm just like, I'm in this like zone of like getting better at it, and like making sure I'm a strong songwriter, and figuring out what kind of songwriter I am, and, you know, trying to identify my weak areas and my strengths as well, so that I can build on those and use those to my advantage. And so when I go into songwriting classes, I'm really excited, and I like learning new things. I did the songwriting boot camp before, when I first got here, like end of 2022. Yeah, end of 2022. I did the songwriting boot camp. It was amazing. Like, just getting the basics, making sure I'm shoring up on the basics, and then just making sure I'm practicing. But this songwriting class was different because, and I realized this afterward, this songwriting class was different because we were put with like other artists in the class, and it was a collaborative, it was more collaborative, where each of us were songwriters, and we were coming into this session trying to make a song, which I realized I haven't done before, because my previous sessions, like my friend Leslie we have a check-in every week, we share music, we don't co-write together. We just share what we've been working on. And when I go over to her and Derek's like free jam sessions, it's just flow. Like, we're not trying to make anything. It's just whatever flows out, like whatever melodies come. They're freestylers. I am not a freestyler yet, but it's just whatever flows. So I realized I've been doing that. And then when I write with Jossie, she's the artist in the room. And I think that's my comfort zone again. I'm not used to like taking up like too much space, I guess. Ugh, this is crazy to say out loud. If I'm like writing my own stuff, then I'm like, okay, boom, it's just me and my ideas. I haven't written with people about my ideas, if that makes sense. So writing with Jossie is like, okay, she has the beats that she likes. She knows what she wants to say. She's figuring out what she wants to say. So I'm just like a sponge, soaking it in, taking note of what she's saying and how she's saying it, so that I can craft and create a song authentic to her and like natural to what she was saying, what she would sing. So it's very like, it's very, very spotlight, I don't know, like the room is for her to take up in those sessions, and for her input to be like the biggest part of the song. And then I'm just there for like, you know, the songwriting, like the like structural things, and like things that like I can't maybe articulate, but I can do naturally, and like, you know, still practice as well. So I realized that in that class, because I have not been in sessions where it's like, okay, you go into this room, you're in a session with these other songwriters, and you guys together come up with a song and collaborate in that way.
This is the way that the industry works. You're never writing alone, never.
So in this class, it was very new to me, because like, there were multiple things going on. And I also too, I like treat like the songwriting room, the space, I treat it as very like sacred. Like, I'm very particular about like the energy in the room, and like, I'm not, you know, breaking out crystals and sage and whatever, but the people in the room and the vibe, like, I'm just very like, let's flow with what's coming into the room. Let's like really dedicate this space to creating something, you know, nice and authentic. to whatever wants to come through from the song realms. I just think about it that way. And so in this class, first of all, we're in this big ass room. There's like 5, 6 different groups, and everybody has a different beat. We're all in different parts of the room, but I can still hear everyone. And so in like I like can drop into a flow state, but I can't, everything comes in. And so sometimes when I'm in a flow state, for example, and if I have like background instrumentals or background shows on, I remember when I was back in Ohio, I had like this I think it was like a documentary playing, and like everything around me, like it's like I'm a radio thing and I'm just receiving all this input. So like I remember some of like the wording and the phrasing and like the images inspired like words when I was watching the documentary, and I was like writing on the side as well. So it kind of like flows like that for me. I don't really understand it still as much. So it was just a lot in the room. There was a lot of sound and like different melodies going on, and I can hear everything. And so I'm trying to concentrate on our melody and our message, and just trying to feel out like what our groove is, what our vibe is in our own little trio. And so it was a lot. And so I start like, this is where the ego came in for me. And I think, you know, like you guys probably saw in the clip, ego does get a bad rap because everybody's thinking like, oh, you're egotistical, you think you're the best, this, that, and the third. No, I don't think I'm the best. I think I have a lot to learn and a lot to grow in. Like, it's a lifelong journey. But this is where I noticed that, okay, this is my ego creeping in, because when I know I can do something, I know I can do it. And so if there's any, literally, as she was saying this at the end of class, if there's any obstacle in my way, I'm like, shift, move, like move. I'm gonna do this. I know I can do this, so I'm gonna do it. So I put like pressure on myself to just get it done and come up with something solid and presentable. So in that session, like my group, we were trying to figure out like what our aim was, what we wanted to say. And you know, it's very interesting learning how people's minds work and seeing how they work when it comes to like getting to a message in a song, or getting to a vulnerable place, or you know, whatever the emotion the prompt calls for. So we had the prompt of wanting to fill a void. And it's so interesting to see how different people's minds approach that topic, and then how the emotions follow, or if they follow. Because I think for me, personally speaking, I am right now in this weird space where like everything, oh shit, everything in the future I cannot see yet again. And it is so, it's like frustrating and annoying. So like that was where I was coming from, but like I'm like just not, it's hard for me sometimes to put like these big like metaphysical concepts, or these big subconscious, conscious concepts into like normal terms, or like a normal story. So I also hadn't like really deeped or processed that was what I was like getting at. So I also wasn't really like emotionally tuning in really, or tapping into like the story I could possibly tell, or like the possible example I could use, or the emotions associated with like feeling that feeling of void and like wanting to feel it. So I was like, I want to know like what the heck this path has for me, but I don't. So that was my point of view. And then like my other two group members had different points of views with varying like levels of emotional like tuning into, or attunement, I should say. And so it's just very interesting trying to like fit it all together, like different personalities and like different takes on what this meant to us. And I realized then too that, oh, I'm also writing with people that like, this isn't the beat that they brought to me and said, oh, I want to write this song. Or this isn't the message, this isn't the emotion, the story that they brought to me and said, oh, I want to write this song. How can we, like, let's do this together. This is all three of us, like, with our own lived experiences and trying to figure out how best, which story is best gonna tell, which story is best gonna inform the song so that it can be a good song, a strong song, and still satisfy the prompt of like wanting to fill a void. Ooh, I'm hoping I'm explaining this correctly.
When you come into a collaborative experience, you're not academic, right? So it is humbling. That feeling is like a little difficult, but what you want to do and what the best course of action is, I believe, when it comes to collaborating, is all deciding on one common goal. Like, once you decide on the goal, it doesn't really matter how you all get there. You all know that you're going to the same place. So, which is why it was important to have the discussion about like the threads, or like, okay, whose story are we going to write the song about, or whose angle is the strongest angle, and that takes, you know, putting pride to the side and like, this your approach, the approach that is easiest for you, might not be the one that's best for the goal.
So it was just so new, and there was so much going on around me. Like, I literally was like, and then I start to put pressure on myself. So I think that's my ego part, that because I know I can, like, I know I can do this if I have enough time, if I have space, if I have, you know, the perfect amount of background noise or silence to like really deep and process what I'm trying to say and what everybody else in my group is trying to say. And so it was just a lot. It was a lot, and we came to like, you know, just, we got some stuff down, and then towards the end, like, Kayla came up and was like, okay, let's talk through what we have. And we talked through it, and basically it was just like, no, start over. And by that time, honey, I was ready to go.
Wait, she's a different beat. Oh my God.
I know how I feel it. But here's the thing, when you're collaborating, you can't bring your ego with you. That's the difficult thing. The difficult thing is being able to like be open to a new process, be open to a new angle, a new approach, a new idea.
I was ready to go because I was frustrated and irritated, because in my mind, I was just like, bro, I'm over it. Like, I'm in this loud ass room. I can't freaking hear myself think. Like, I am not getting what I need from this session, from the vibes. Like, I know I can do this. And so I am gonna do it. I'm gonna bring it together. I'm trying to bring together three different like perspectives on this prompt, and it's not coming together in the way that I would like, or in the way that makes sense and is cohesive. And so I know I can do this, and that is where the ego kicks in for me.
Ego develops when you finally have something you're good at.
Woo! I know that's right.
When you find something that you're good at, it's hard to have a moment of not being good at it, because you've been good at it. Right? So if anything is put in your path that makes it seem like you're not good at this thing.
And that's what I noticed. It was very much and feeling like I have to pull this together, and I don't know what this part of this means. It's not matching this, but I'm gonna pull together all three of our things and bring it together. That's how my mind works, and it works out when I'm not writing like with other songwriters. It works when I'm writing with or for someone else's story or their point of view, or I'm writing for myself, by myself. So that is definitely an area of growth where I need to like sit down and make sure that I have more co-writes writing with people that are songwriters, and that you know, we are coming together and it's both of our perspectives. Because on some level, I do offer like little tidbits here of my perspective and lived experiences in other songwriting sessions with artists for artists, but I need more of those sessions where, where I don't forget that there is another person in the room that is also a songwriter and that is tuning in, tapping into their emotions and really wanting to tell a story, and that it's not all on me to bring together and this, that, and the third. So that was a really big eye-opening moment of awareness for me. Like, I at least can say that I came out of that session with a better understanding of myself and a new co-writer. And like, just really, it was eye-opening, because when she said your ego, I was like, girl, who are you talking to? I don't have an ego. Knowing that I do, I definitely do. And I know about ego, like in the broader sense, not just like, oh, got a big ego. No, everybody has an ego. But in that moment, I was like, wow. Wow. I think,
and you know what? I think that ego gets a bad rap, right? Like we think like ego is like, oh, I have none. No way.
That's what I'm feeling in my chest.
No, baby. You have a lot. You have a lot. You have a big ego.
So after we debriefed, we had some groups share what they came up with, and it was lovely. And yeah, class was pretty much over. They were learning choreo for Nico's song, Jericho. And yeah, great learning experience.
Ego develops when you finally have something to
Yeah.
That's when you develop ego.
Okay. Yes.
And when you
But then
find
macho,
something that you're good at, it's hard to have